welcome to Farscape.
A fun-filled Farscape fancast, yes, by a fervent fan.
And a fascinated first-timer.
I'm Khaki.
I'm Kay, and this is the story Farscape.
Prepare to starburst!
Yes.
Season 2
is over, yes, and it ended with quite a cliffhanger, I suppose. And we are doing now, traditionally speaking, I mean, it's tradition when you do it for the second time, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Doing a season recap. So we're not discussing a specific episode this week, but instead we are just talking about season 2 in general, hopes, fears, tears and laughs, and seeing where this will take us into season 3, hopefully.
Yes.
I mean, we don't even know if there's a season 3, is there? Has it been prolonged?
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
good.
Okay. So there are certain secrets that I'm keeping from you, but the existence of a third season is not one of them. I promise that when the series ends, I will tell you that's it. I won't make you go through the whole song and dance of like a next episode. Ooh, can I episode? No.
Sorry. Yeah.
Okay, I won't break your heart like that. We have some more in store for you this week as well.
Oh?
You've made quite a few predictions and bets over the course of this,
I
this
have,
season.
yes,
so
haven't I?
I think it's time that your reckoning comes due.
Oh, dear.
And also, hey, last time we had a lot of fun with sort of trivia questions.
Yes, which started me on the path to earning my Farscape fun bucks.
Exactly. So this time I thought it might be fun to get some questions from the audience.
Oh.
And we have some absolutely cracking questions, most of them about like insights, but also some really fun what-ifs from our fantastic listeners out there.
Wanton speculation of
Yes!
abroad.
See, you get it. But let's start off with reviewing this season because, I mean, we ended episode 22, Dimey Dichotomy, with indeed the sort of heartbreaking cliffhanger. But we said that we'd keep it on the episode. We wouldn't reflect on the season. And you've actually gone through and like checked all your notes for the last season.
Yes.
So like walk me through how you experienced it.
So what I wanted to talk about is kind of just like how the season has developed as a whole.
Yeah.
How it started off with basically the new baby, which had been born at the end of season 1, Talon, and how that developed in the first season. And of course, we had the cliffhanger of John and Dargo hanging out in space. And how the episode developed with Grace and Aaron being a buddy all of a sudden.
Yeah. Some former PK like tension there.
You're supposed to check in 2 hours ago.
I can't always get away on schedule. Don't forget I have to give Crichton a reason for my absence.
He still has no knowledge of our arrangement?
None.
It might facilitate matters if you explain to him.
No.
Eventually, you'll have to.
Only when it's too late for him to interfere.
We quickly lose Grace as he makes off with Talon. Yeah. Although he does pop up a few more times in the rest of the season, although not quite in the way that I hoped with a new crew. He seems to be just like keeping himself and Talon apart and alone and not really doing anything, except that he seems to be trying to raise Talon.
Yeah.
In a way that it's like, you wouldn't have thought of him in the first part. So that sounds like an interesting part to start. Like, Grace's story arc.
Well, from the way you tell the story, you sounded kind of sadistic.
How he has developed over the...
So little about what he's been doing. Like I mentioned originally in The Ugly Truth, there was going to be a lot more backstory for what Grace and Talon have been getting up to in the uncharted territories. And all that was cut out because it's fine the way it is. And the biggest thing about it is that we, the crew and us as well, were worried that he would, start a reign of terror. He is, after all, an insane military commander now in charge of a teenage gunship. Yeah.
How large has Talon grown?
He's not as big as Moya yet, pilot, but he's fierce. When he decided to attack, he easily destroyed the Halosian ship.
Can we take heart that Grace didn't initiate the attack? Perhaps he won't use Talon as a weapon.
Perhaps he'll surprise us all.
But that didn't come to pass.
No, none of that. I mean, if anything, he complains a few times that Talon is being too aggressive. Yeah. And he's like having to rein him in and only to use his main gun in self-defense. And he tries to like get the main gun replaced for a less lethal version.
Yeah.
And like you said, in Ugly Truth, he actually shows up to make trouble for them. But then again, at the end, he shows up to come and help them out in the end of Liars, Guns, and my inability to remember the correct title of that series.
Okay, I'm not going to force it down your throat anymore. You can just call it whatever you want, and I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Which was Talon's decision, not Grace's.
Right, because Moya called out, and Moya was in trouble, which is interesting, because you'd think that Moya's been calling out to him more often. I mean, Moya being the concerned mother that she is. But apparently now there was something that she must have said that convinced Talon to
You've been
go
a teenager. You know the sound of your mother's voice calling you down for whatever, a scolding or dinner or whatever, until she actually yells a little bit different, and you just sort of hear it, and then you get, okay, my family is in trouble. Okay. Those instincts kicked in. Come on,
yeah. No, you have a good point. It's
you ignore all the ones that just mean, I'm an inconvenience to my mother.
Right, and when there's an actual problem, then you hear that. Yeah, no, you have a very good point. I had not considered that. That's very...
Sorry, I am reminded that there was a thing which was, I think, yes, an American contest for farmers' wives yelling for their husbands to come to dinner.
Okay.
And it was a yelling contest for who had the harshest, most commanding yell for
to shove up. Oh, wow. I mean, I know my father had the uncanny ability to be upstairs whenever it was time for dinner. It's like he knew when it was like dinner was about to be served, because he would run upstairs and then be upstairs. I don't know. He was just like always upstairs whenever dinner. It's like he'd be sitting there in the living room for the entire late part of the afternoon. And then just like as soon as my mum's almost done with dinner, he would disappear upstairs and he'd have to be called down to because dinner's
he's
ready.
Like a sitcom dad.
I don't know.
Hit his marks.
So yes, Crace, I suppose, is a bit of a little bit of seasoning, which has been sprinkled over the season as a little bit of... we haven't forgotten about him. He's like lost his role of insane military commander, and he seems to be a much more calculated military commander again. Probably the person which got him into his position of power. Probably even more scarily so now that he's dealt with his trauma of losing his brother, but indirectly also of being conscripted into the peacekeeper force.
Wow, that's really insightful. Like, he's always, I guess, had a complicated relationship with the peacekeepers, which he managed to stabilize through the presence of his brother and his responsibility as an older brother himself.
And being a brutal commander.
He's become a principled person.
Yes. Annoyingly so, almost. Like
inconvenient, isn't it?
Well, not just even inconvenient, but like, condescendingly so, almost. You know, there's nothing worse than a reformed smoker. What they say is like... you kind of have that with him as well. It's like when he's like... Yeah, constantly, especially he gets on Erin's case a lot.
Because apparently she got on his case a lot early in the season when they were still sort of making custody arrangements for Talon.
Magnificent. Kal Tenaga Chivoko.
A crowning glory for whom?
For us, Officer Sun.
Erin's an interesting development as well, isn't it?
Right, yes. I mean, we have seen quite a interesting story development. She gets her, of course, at first in Mind the Baby, we have the whole, is she or is she not colluding with Crace? Other than that, Erin does not have a lot of her own story arcs, other than...
The Way We Weren't.
The Way We Weren't, yeah, which is a very great episode. The Way We Weren't, and of course, damn it, which one's... The Locket, yes.
Yes.
Those were basically the two episodes where she has more than just a part of the crew part.
Yeah, which is much more focused on her. I think that's fair. Like, even in Look at the Princess, when she went off with Carzanova for the rock climbing. Oh, no, I won't say that. I was going to say that was sort of filler, but that's not fair. Carzanova gave her a lot of insights into her own feelings, and she did take different actions as a consequence of that.
Well, she kind of like stopped doing that again as well, because she's been on the fence about how she's going to act towards John basically the entire season.
Oh, okay. So I did a note review as well, and I made an observation that hadn't really occurred to me before, that, okay, so she struggled to say how she feels, right?
Have you even told him how you feel? He knows what he needs to know.
And throughout season 2, she still doesn't learn that, right? She still hasn't figured out how to talk about her feelings. But she can still communicate them.
Yeah.
Like, the resolution of Look at the Princess isn't her having a conversation with Crichton. She doesn't talk to him.
No.
She holds up that vial, she takes an action.
Right,
and this is how we express ourselves.
Yeah.
Actions speak to them.
To the point where Crichton, in A Liar's Guns of Money, says,
I have to tell you how I feel. I have to tell you.
And she says, no, you don't.
Because she knows, yeah.
We don't need to talk. Like, talking about our feelings is something that we can't do, but
actually she can't do. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But she's figured out...
And then she kind of does tell her. And then she kind of does tell him.
Yeah.
in Dichotomy.
Yes.
I love you too.
Oh, I almost put that out of my memory. It's so fresh still.
And then we have, of course, the Locket, which they have basically their whole arc. It doesn't even get resolved, but they get to spend a lifetime together on the good planet.
Yeah.
And they settle into this bond, you can clearly call it. They clearly love each other, even though they have weird ways of expressing it. So, I guess that's about Erin's developmental arc. So she's clearly coming to grips with it-ish. I mean, she has, but then, of course, other things happen to John to make it go wrong again.
And now, reflecting on it, the Locket is a really interesting one because it's a real examination of where these characters are now and where they'll stay without external stimulus. Because that was the thing about The Favored World. Nothing happens. It's totally boring. So there's nothing to stimulate you into changing your way of thinking. And that way, John and Erin, as we've observed, can spend 80 years on this planet
jibing at each other
and still not say they love each other, still not even convey that to each other. But since all that whole sort of reality was unspooled and we saw the rest of the season unfold, lots of other stimuli, by the end of it, they were able to communicate their feelings much better. Within, I guess, 6 months. That's roughly half a season. From the Locket onward.
I mean, it seems to be more or less real time, except in when there's a long period of them doing something else. But
in genre, a season is usually a year.
Yeah.
Oh, the Locket was then season 6 or episode 16, so it would have been late in the year. Hey, Kay, I have a question that has just come to me in my little brain right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so without any of the sort of stimulus they experienced, they would have never been able to communicate to each other how they feel until after one of them died.
Yeah.
Okay. They were clearly able to do that by the end of Liars, Guns, and Money.
Yes.
What happened in between? What was it?
Very little.
Yeah, right.
We had The Ugly Truth, which was the return and disappearance of Stark, I believe.
Oh, yes.
After he... he disappeared in The Ugly Truth.
Yeah, it was dissipated.
He was dissipated. And he returned in... Was it already in Clockwork Nabari or just the beginning of Liars, Guns, and Money? It's
Liars, Guns, and Money.
There was one episode where he was gone.
They net a ship that they'd never seen before, and that ship is just never mentioned again.
And we had, then we had Clockwork Nabari, and then it starts with Liars, Guns, and Money, in which Stark is back, and we have, and that's all that happened between the Locket and
yeah, that's interesting.
The only thing we really see in those episodes is John only really starts to break down at Liars, Guns, and Money, although we do have Harvey occasionally making his... I mean, that's done very well during those episodes. You can see that he is occasionally starting to lose it. It's
squirrely.
Yeah,
I think
little
is the
bits
term.
which are thrown in there, and that comes to fruition at the start of Liars, Guns, and Money when he goes into full breakdown because of Harvey. So what changed? I don't know. Erin-wise, maybe not. I mean, there was the whole the whole thing with Chana's brother. But
Clockwork Nabari, but she wasn't involved in that. She was brainwashed the whole time. So she didn't experience much of that.
No, maybe
the brainwashing.
Maybe her good traits were emphasized thanks to the brainwashing thing. You know, how they become less violent. And I mean, I remember how amazingly well acted I thought that was by Claudia Black at the beginning. The moment you see her walking onto the ship, you go like, okay, that's not Erin. There's
Erin doesn't walk like that.
Something is wrong here.
Look at her, she's walking.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, that was so fantastically done. But that actually brings me to another arc that I'd like to talk about.
Yes.
Chana.
Aha.
Who we don't see very much of at the beginning, although it starts, of course, with Taking the Stone, which is early on in the season, which is a great Chana episode. And it kind of, I guess, between Taking the Stone at the beginning and the Clockwork Nabari at the end, that kind of...
It's kind of nice bookend.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That kind of defines Chiana's arc.
Oh, and don't forget Home on the Remains. That's also an exploration of...
a good middle one in there.
Yeah.
Which I didn't think was a particularly strong episode.
I mean, it's still interesting to see that Chiana has had a whole life.
Yeah, it's an interesting Chiana episode, very much so.
I think that's the only episode that we've had where, correct me on this... we discover one of the crew's past friends.
Yes.
Hey, girl, you been here too long.
Right? It was just Altana, or friends and enemies, I guess. But
well,
all the peacekeepers that Aaron meets.
Yeah.
Either we've met before or she's never met before.
Yeah.
Like Jelena. Dargo, we don't meet anyone from his past. Rigel, Zaan.
Jothi, but,
Father? Jothi.
Jothi is fair. Yeah, that is fair.
Rigel, we get Durka.
Hello. Rigel.
and Durka gets got.
What a fantastic 5 minutes David Wheeler must have had.
Yeah, that must have been so disappointing for the poor man. It's like, I'm coming back. Yeah, not for very long, though.
Yeah. So I'm getting fitted for a new costume or a prosthetic? No, we're just going to live cast your entire head because your
head is going to get more screen time than you.
Yeah, Chiana, though. Okay, Chiana. Because it really does kick off with taking the stone, where it's also about, like, how does she relate to the rest of these characters, and where is she in her life? Right, because she's a young woman. She's described as a teenager.
Yeah,
and she's on the sort of cusp of early womanhood. Because I think in taking the stone, that's a very sort of teenage nihilist, physical sort of response. It's kind of a Lost Boys story.
Yeah,
certainly with the people on that planet that she was embracing. And then she chose not to continue with that. She chose to continue with her family, to grow up, I guess.
Right, and you see that a lot because she is then often the person who is keeping people together, keeping people grounded.
Yeah, right.
I guess she could be, the youngest child who is like sees the dysfunctional family around them and desperately tries to adjust for everybody to keep the whole family working together. I mean, I know that's a kind of like
it's a
bleak way of looking at it,
and a trope, but one that does occasionally happen, and certainly explored in literature and film as well.
Because Zaan is in the first season the one who is like basically mothering the whole ship together, and she definitely loses that role, and the keeping everybody together and talking to each other becomes much more Chiana's role on the ship.
I think especially in Out of Their Minds at the end, when everybody's very apologetic for how they behaved, she's the one who forgives everyone.
Some of the things you said.
Yeah, look, I'm sorry, really.
Oh, no, look, don't apologize. I was impressed. How did you come up with all that crap?
I don't know, Pip. It's just there.
Did I say anything awful, Chiana?
You don't remember?
No, trial tics triggered such an intense reaction in me, I blanked everything out.
Wow. I wish I could do that. No, Zen, look, you were the best out of all of us. You look like you were having a great time.
Even like John, who under the influence of trial tics' terrible sort of mind control committed violence on her.
Yeah, it was a very good Zaan and Chiana episode, Out of Their Minds.
Oh, yeah.
And, of course, it had the fantastic thing where
no, Crackers Don't Matter. Sorry, Crackers Don't Matter, that's the one.
Right.
Out of Their Minds was the body swap.
Yes, and it had the one where we learned that DRDs can make Polaroids. Which I thought was amazing.
DRDs can do everything.
So, yes, Crackers Don't Matter, yes, where John joined the Insane Clown Posse.
The Insane Cosmonaut Posse?
Yeah, I suppose.
Okay. I don't do well with clowns.
I mean, that was a great episode. It had such good banter between the characters as well.
Yeah.
They were just like snipping at each other, and it was fantastic.
Especially Pilot.
Oh,
I like snippy Pilot.
Pilot is amazing when he gets like tetchy.
I'm only judging on my experience with you, but I've never seen such a deficient species.
Have you run the scan on the pulsar?
How do humans make it through a cycle, even half a cycle, without killing each other?
We find it difficult. Have you run the scan?
You have no special abilities. You're not particularly smart, can hardly smell, can barely see, and you're not even vaguely physically or spiritually imposing. Is there anything you do well?
Watch football. Have you run the scan?
Nobody trusts you, Crichton. Do you know that? Sometimes they pity you because of your incompetence.
Once something
but you
done,
amuse
do
us,
it yourself.
and that don't touch my tongue.
Oh, you want to talk about incompetence?
Go
I bet the
away.
lawyer would dump your ass in a
I
heartbeat if she had a choice.
I warned you.
So, right, yes, Pilot's arc this season. What do we think of that?
We saw the most of his backstory in The Way We Weren't as well.
Right, yes.
Very fitting that Aaron and Pilot get their own episode together because
they're kind of tied together literally ever since not Maldis.
DNA Mad Scientist.
That's the one. Yeah.
That's when Namtar.
Namtar. That's the one. A name I was looking for.
Cross-pollinated Pilot DNA into Aaron's genes, and they've worked well together. You saw that even in The Locket. When she comes back to Moya with a mission to save everyone, but also before she leaves to say goodbye to Pilot.
Pilot, yes.
Glad I got a chance to see you one last time, my friend.
What do you mean? I'll see you again?
No, you won't. Goodbye.
Because he's her friend, and everybody else will understand. I don't know why she doesn't want to say goodbye to everyone else, but Pilot
definitely gets a separate visit. Yeah, Pilot does. Other than The Way We Weren't, doesn't see a lot of action. I mean, he gets to blow up the simulation fireworks when he's.
He's so proud of that.
Did that work for you? I thought it worked. Definitely.
Yeah, Pilot. You're the best. You're great.
Other than that, I guess he's he's just there.
Yeah.
I mean, he's
just happy to do what he does.
Yeah.
Right? He's
very much so.
He's happy with this crew. He wants them to do well. He's supportive of them. Actually, him and Moya have had quite some adventures. They've met God.
A capricious deity.
A god. Welsh Caligula, I believe.
So, I mean, that's kind of a big deal. He even later took Kahenu's name when he was praying to Kahenu for something to go right. Yeah. And then he got it wrong.
Kahanu protect Moya.
I guess because Lani Tupu maybe didn't read the script right. He called him Kahanu instead of Kahenu. But I suppose he wouldn't have learned that because pilots do not speak to Kahenu.
That's right, yes.
Kahenu shut him down and never introduced himself.
Why do you suddenly have a Jamaican accent rather than a Welsh?
Pardon me, this was me trying to do a Welsh accent, but apparently Wales is now an island. Apologies to my Jamaican
both the Welsh and the Jamaican
family and my Welsh friends, yes. Moving safely along, save me, Kay.
Right, let's see, what else have we got? Rigel.
Yeah.
What arc did Rigel have this season?
Absolutely nothing.
No.
I made sort of notes on everyone. Oh, actually, I should have had my notes while we were discussing this.
Yeah.
But my note for Rigel says, fuck all, because absolutely nothing changes about him. The only thing that changes is that we recognize his behavior patterns a little bit better.
Yes.
Because we find out that he doesn't just sell them out when it helps him.
Habitually.
He only sells them out when he's in danger.
Okay.
That's the only time, because he sold them out, I think, really only twice.
Right at the beginning.
So he went to Scorpius.
Yeah.
In Family Ties.
Oh wait, that was much later. Yeah.
Right, that was at the end of season 2.
Yeah.
Season 1, pardon me, and at the end of season 2 in Clockwork Nabari.
Yes.
When they show up, he defects and he sells them out. But in both cases, he was under direct threat. He didn't do it in other cases where it could have given him an advantage, like Liars, Guns and Money.
Yes, okay, very good point.
Right? He could have sold them out to Natira, and she would have probably been very grateful to him and helped him. Yeah. But he wasn't under direct duress or threat then.
Okay. I hadn't made that click yet. That does indeed sound very interesting.
It's only because nothing else changes about it. He learns nothing, except maybe... No, I was going to say, don't hoard all the gold, it might be cursed. Nope. He immediately goes for the gold that turns out later to be,
Not cursed.
Not cursed, but Moya eating
right, but that's not really...
Metalite.
And they have the other items that they were going to, pick out for themselves, as they have this little discussion about with Zahn. It's like, which one of these would you like?
Yeah, but that's from the second vault. The one that they hid in. So okay, yeah. Do you have anything for him, because he doesn't get a?
We do see him. We do see him being, I guess, more his older self, the one we've never really seen before in Look at the Princess, when he is schmoozing with the Empress.
Yes.
And that's
when smell power.
I was going to say, and that's when we probably see more of the old Rigel as he was before he got imprisoned.
He knows his way around the court.
He's elbow rubbing immediately with the Empress, and they're talking as equals almost.
John Crichton may not leave this planet, but I will protect him.
I've noticed how efficient that is.
Security was tripled. This device was unknown to us. There was no way we could predict its application.
You know why it's unknown to you? Because it's probably Scarron, the same Scarron who's in conspiracy with your son.
Silence! You may have once ruled 600 billion, but you will not besmirch my son's name.
Aren't we past that, Novia? You posture and deny any longer, and we both lose what we want.
If Crichton leaves, he will flee.
Not if you control the situation. Stash him somewhere. Moya's gone. He's got nowhere to go. At least give yourself time to identify the conspirators other than your son.
Are you familiar with the Jack Trace?
The little green creature who saved Crichton and your daughter?
Precisely. Her eldest counselor sent a ship filled with wedding gifts. It orbits unattended, unnoticed.
Excellent thinking. Do you employ a detail of guards above treason?
I shall send my very own paladins.
I propose we tell no one. Not my shipmates or your daughter. Let them all think that Crichton's disappeared.
Throw them off the scent. Encourage those who are intent on assassination to grow careless.
Precisely. You are most wise, Empress.
And you are most manipulative, Domina.
At least she recognizes him as being someone who has been in a position like hers.
Yes.
And they're like, oh, we'll just let the kids sort it. And we'll just plan what the kids need to do and how things are going to go. And he's literally willing to stick around for 80 cycles just to be John's advisor at the end when he comes back out of his statuification.
That's pretty amazing. I'm not fully willing to call that part of his character development, though, because it is Rigel getting something he wants is not character development generally.
No, and Rigel being Rigel is still a...
So two things do happen. One of them is he gets his revenge against Durka.
Yes.
Which, good.
Yes, he gets his comeuppance. Rigel is briefly reduced to a snivelling wreck.
But it's all an act.
It's all an act. And
yes, because he's already planned ahead.
Haha.
That was unintentional. And the second thing that Rigel gets to develop is his relationship with Chiana.
Yes.
She was quite a lot like me, you know. She had spirit, ambition, large appetites. She would have made an excellent Hynerian.
They are always like Rumpelteazer and Mungo Jerry, who are just always catching each other at trying to
steal shit. I mean, it started with A Bug's Life.
You're here for the same reason I am. To see if there's anything inside worth snatching.
Snatch? I don't snatch. I procure.
Look, in the interest of not getting caught, I'll agree to half whatever we procure.
Half? I was here first.
But I have the key.
Oh, okay, half.
Right, that's how the Intellant virus escaped, because they were just looking for something to snurch or procure, depending on which one of them you asked. And God, how many more times did they do that?
They both try to go for the money in that they liberated from the vault in Liar's Guns and Money.
Oh, checking on our treasure, or are you helping yourself?
The way I see it, beating you to it.
How dare you? 50-50?
All right. But just enough so no one notices.
They're
in the locket as well.
What are we doing here?
We're just seeing if Erin came back with anything.
But why? She's only been gone a solar day. You don't believe that other yachts, do you?
No, but she still might have come back with something interesting.
Are you going to steal it?
Of course not.
You're worse than me. I like that.
What are you doing in here?
Yes. And then Dargo comes upon them. And that's not the first time that both of them have been sneaking about and stealing things.
Whenever there's something to be had or found, then both of them will be there. And
shopping. They love to go shopping. They even comment that they can't pass a trader in this part of the galaxy without... hold on a second. Hold on. Her Majesty, we have a guest host. Her Majesty wants her throne, which is my lap, which needs a blanket because these are good jeans. Come on. Come on,
Missy. Psst, psst, psst. No, she's like, okay, no, I don't want it. Now you have everything in place. I'm just going to stand here and look around for a little bit. And then, there she comes. There we go.
Hey.
Nope.
No. She just dipped her toe. Oh, you don't like that. Oh, no.
Oh, she got it.
Oh, you got your toe hooked in the couch. Oh.
She got it. She got stuck to the Velcro of your bag, I think.
We'll see how things develop.
Attempt
we'll keep
the second.
Sort of a running update of Her Majesty's ascension of the throne. Yeah, so I really like Chiana and Rigel.
Oh, yeah, they work fantastically well.
I mean, all those scenes are essentially the same, and that's fine. I'm always so happy to see them.
There's nothing wrong with a running gag.
Yeah.
Especially when it's done like this, and it shows character.
Yeah.
Not necessarily good character, but it's character. Speaking of Chiana's development arc, she has her a bit of a relationship development with Dargo.
Interesting.
Which we haven't. I mean, it kind of peaks around Look at the Princess, or it's mostly Look at the Princess when this occurs.
They do have a lot of fantastic sex.
This is not sex.
As Dargo is not shy about telling John about, which does get the laugh that he was hoping for. Unfortunately, it doesn't last very long, because apparently it hurts like a lot when you get turned into a statue, when it's like tuned for sebaceans and not for humans.
Yeah.
Because they're like humans, but not quite.
So this brings us to Dargo, because that's who the relationship is with. And I think it's interesting to sort of a segue there, because Chiana's evolution is really tied here as well, where she and Dargo are not an immediate easy fit.
No.
Aside from Mivonk related, which clearly works very well.
Right. I mean, that's what she literally says to John when John is like talking to her about relationship advice with Erin. It's like, be quick with the body and slow with the feelings.
Ah, right, yeah.
And I guess that's what she like puts into practice when it comes to Dargo. They're just having a fling.
Right.
And you see that in Look at the Princess when they do the whole compatibility test thing with the little dippy bottles.
Yes.
And it doesn't work. But they're like, okay, we knew that we weren't compatible like that. We're still going to have fun and enjoy it while it lasts.
See, what I think is really interesting there is Chiana doing the nurturing thing as well. Like, Dargo's really down in the dumps over the result of their kiss test.
Yeah.
But Chiana tries to sort of console him and reassure him, and she says, it's not about the parts that give us pleasure. But that's not just because she considers their relationship physical. She really cares about his feelings.
Yeah.
And they actually share a lot of scenes where she's sort of consoling him, often like in their bedroom, a good excuse for two very hot lead characters to be naked, sort of discussing his sort of emotional hang-ups and like his regrets, and really sort of nurturing and consoling him.
Well, you say that like two hot leads being naked, but I think that both Chiana and Dargo are the two main characters we least see naked, mainly because they have both incredibly complex. Well,
really?
not so complex.
I mean, okay, so on screen versus like implied, because I'm thinking
right.
Like,
well, okay, implied. There's lots of implied, but like when Dargo's literally under the blankets and coming up for air. But okay, on screen there's definitely the ones like we never see Chiana without her outfit, because that would require way too much body makeup, and they're reserving that for Zahn. I mean, we do see
we've seen her topless from behind
right,
at one point.
Yeah.
Like John walks in on her and Dargo.
Right? Yes, when they're Mivonk rubbing again.
Yeah.
Bad time. Good time. Sorry, wrong time.
Interesting.
And
because now
Dargo, the only time I think we see Dargo with his shirt off is when he's being chained up again to make it look like he's...
oh, yeah.
I think that's the only time we've seen Dargo with his shirt off.
Yeah, when he's being tortured on the Shadow Depository.
Yeah.
But do we see anybody else naked more often? Like there's Zahn, but that was a stock shot from season 1, I think.
I mean, Rigel when he gets when he was dissected, but that was season 1.
When he's clambering through the vaults,
yeah,
it goes so fast that his clothes come off. Like it's a real sort of porn parody sci-fi trope.
The wind rips his clothes off. It's like,
what? How does that work?
I have no idea.
I mean, he's shaped like a cone. How could it be blown down his body and come off? It's very impressive.
No, true. Yeah. So Dargo, I mean, we do get the resolving of his, family arc. Like right at the end of season 1, we learn about, I guess, is that the first time we learn about his son still being alive?
He's always held the hope, but, Stark returns in the locket already. Yeah. In the locket is when Stark has returned, and at the end of the locket, that's when he tells Dargo, and he gives him a photo of Joffrey who's alive.
And that's when that's actually a fairly short but fairly strong arc, when it all becomes about, all Dargo's motivation becomes about, like, finding Joffrey again, and he even complains about the fact that they haven't been, like, spending enough effort on it, even though Lars Guns and money is kind of like arced towards, like, getting the money they need to get him out.
Yep. Well, it opens with a bit of conflict because Zaan is convinced that she can find Stark, and she won't give up the search. And
and he is like complaining, we need to go get on our we need to get our Joffrey on.
Okay. Yeah, he gets some. His development, I thought, is a bit like harder to be enthusiastic about. Some of it is really good, but quite noir. He makes a lot of decisions that he regrets. Mm-hmm. And it's usually about mistrusting someone first, Stark, and then Jon, which is cool. I mean, we've talked about how I didn't really feel like his animosity toward Jon and the rest of the crew was really earned in Lyregun's money initially.
But we know how emotional he is, and how his hot temper tends to get the best of him for a little bit from time to time, and then he usually swings around. I mean, ever since he did his bonding with Jon in season 1, they've been very.
Sorry, I was just going to say no. That was in Jon's imagination that he had a little Luxon bonding ritual involving some lutra oil and an Qualta blade.
Oh dear, that was that.
And Chiana, she likes to watch.
Yeah. That was in Won't Get Fooled Again, wasn't it?
Very good.
Yes. Oh.
Yeah, no trivia questions this time. Otherwise, I would have put the music in there that you got it right and given you. That's not how you're going to be earning those fun bucks this time.
All right. Speaking of which, I mean, you mentioned you had some questions from our listeners.
Yes. Let's dig into the first of our questions, and then we can continue our season wrap up. So we have here. We're going to start off with frequent contributor of synopses, Wookie.
Yeah.
Hello, my name is Bryson, a.k.a. Wookie, a.k.a. Redshirt Wookie, a.k.a. Wookie, and nice try, we are not saying the rest of your username. I've been a Farscape fan since I first saw it on DVD when I was 13 or 14, after a family friend lent me the DVDs, and since it was summer, I binge-watched nearly the whole series within a few weeks, much to the chagrin of my parents who, although they're both sci-fi fans, weren't so much into the puppets and irreverent tone of the show. I'm really glad to be a listener of the show, and I appreciate the obvious care and quality of its production. Keep up the good work, and thanks for taking my questions.
Thank you so much. And Wookie's first question is,
who do you think has had the best character arc through the first 2 seasons?
Well, I think we've just spoken about that at great length.
Yeah, but whose is the best?
Whose is the best? Ooh.
Yeah, right? Hey, which of your children is your favourite?
Yes. Ooh. I think I'm going to have to go with Chiana.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, fascinating. Tell me about this.
Okay, so it's mostly a process of elimination. Mm-hmm. It's rather than saying that it really jumps out at me.
Yeah.
But like we said, Rigel doesn't have any development.
But he's also like, what is he? 500 years old? Some shit like that?
Rigel, yeah, probably closer to 8 or so.
Yeah.
More than that. Zaan, especially in season 2, was being a little bit weak. She had her big thing, and then she had a religious falling out at the beginning, and she's been a bit seeking. She's been quite absent in a lot of episodes. She occasionally swoops in and is helpful and does things.
It's always great to see Zaan, but she doesn't get a lot of interesting things to do, and she doesn't drive the plot a lot.
No, exactly. Same goes for Dargo. He's been around. At the end of season 2, we had some resolvement with his the plot of his son.
Yeah.
Jon, I mean, okay, Jon would be the obvious choice.
Yes.
But I can't...
And it is clearly mine.
But he's the show front runner, so... Okay...
No, that's fair.
He is the show.
He is the show.
Right. So therefore I'm not giving my... I'd say pilot, but it's only his thing has been very profound, but kind of small. And I think Chiana's just been the more entertaining one. The thing we've learned about her backstory and everything.
Really fantastic. I mean, I totally support that. Like, yeah, for me, it's John because this is this season, and it is so iconic in my memory. The realization that they're really doing a PTSD story.
Totally,
they're really. Wow, there's a mind control thing in his head this whole time. That's been planned. And it's both, right? It's not that the chip sort of caused the symptoms of his PTSD. He is suffering both of those. Absolutely incredible. Yeah. Fantastic performance. Erin, though, I mean, we've talked about her development. You can sort of observe that, but we don't really get to experience that from her point of view.
No.
Right? Even in The Locket, we see her feelings from the outside as much as she lets anybody else see those.
I mean, that's very kind of in character with Erin.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a very cool way of doing it, but it does make her a little bit more distant and inaccessible, which I suppose is what Erin is.
Yeah. And Dargo, I mean, there was one more note that I had about his development, and that's not a very good quality. He has become very controlling of people that he loves.
Yes.
He's been very controlling and judgmental of Chiana's behavior, and like even with Jothi at the end, like they discover that he wants Chiana to marry him, and for
she's going to pop the question.
Them, and with Jothi to sort of settle down on a farm, like that is his fantasy.
And both Jothi and Chiana are like, hell no.
Yeah. And I think, and part of that is because like he loves them, and so he wants them to be safe. He is so wounded by the trauma of losing his son that he's, I guess, overprotective, over-controlling. And that just doesn't, not only does it not work with these characters in specific, it's kind of not a great thing to do. I was reminded of the phrase, if you love someone, set them free, which was at once beautifully like paraphrased in the podcast Night Vale with the quote, if you love someone, let them go. Let them go now. We have you surrounded.
Wow. Damn. That's dark.
Okay, so second question from Wookie.
Yeah.
Who is your favorite character so far?
Or, and I think we should answer the or question.
Yeah.
Who do you most identify with?
Okay. I mean, favorite character? I'll answer. I think I'll answer.
Oh, you answer both?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I think favorite character would still be Pilot.
Oh,
I like Pilot.
No, you're right.
Pilot is just so...
I just want to hang out with Pilot.
Yeah, I just want to sit in his den and play checkers with him or whatever. And like listening to the RC channel that all the pilots are having on between themselves.
They've got a little private Slack that nobody else is allowed into.
Which character do I most identify with? Oh, that's a very loaded, well, not loaded question, but a difficult one, I suppose.
Yeah, right. Hey, let's take it broader. It doesn't have to be the core crew.
Yeah.
You can take anyone.
Okay. Oh, let's see who I identify with. Jeez.
Hey, I can actually answer that for you.
Yeah.
Pilot, again.
Okay.
Listen, if you were stuck in the uncharted territories, if you were stuck on the ship, I know how you are. You find things to do. You're an incredible craftsperson and an artisan. You find things to do, and you just go and do them. And you don't need you don't need people to follow you. You don't need them to obey you. It's nice when you can sort of do things together. Like you'd find, I guess, a way to turn the sluice chamber on Moya into a still.
Probably, yeah. That sounds like the kind of thing that I would get up to.
Right? And which is basically what Pilot's doing. I mean, not necessarily that he's making booze.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely making booze. He's definitely making moonshine.
If he gets
sort
a
of
chance,
DRD moonshine.
He would totally do that, yeah.
I think you'd be Pilot.
Okay. I mean, it's either that or what's Scorpius' lieutenant called again? Braca, yes. That's...
Yes, sir.
If anybody, I would probably identify with Braca.
Tell me about that.
Well,
I mean, he gets the cool outfit.
There you go. That's a good start. And,
yeah.
And just like, kind of like working behind the scenes and doing the...
getting things done.
Getting things done. So, yeah, that's kind of like the same thing. What about yourself?
I would love to say something, really, really insightful. I would love to say that I'm any of the main heroes, or even that I'm Stark. But I'm... Oh.
Rigel?
Rigel comes very close.
Yeah.
Rigel comes very close, but I don't have it in me to sell people out.
No, fair.
That's really not my thing. So Rorf.
Rorf.
I'm still Rorf, the Vorkarian blood tracker.
Okay. Yeah.
I would half follow most people's explanations and just ask the sensible questions. This makes no sense. I would get really over enthusiastic about the wrong things just because I probably don't fully understand them, but I'm completely charged ahead. I'm Rorf.
Fiercely protective of the people you love.
Yes, I like to think that if push came to shove, even the people that I don't particularly love, but on whose side I am, could, I hope, count on me, even though I'd be yelling and bickering the whole time and probably wouldn't really figure out how to use the communications device even in season 9.
Right. Fantastic.
And, there's a fun what if.
If someone were going to make a prequel, sequel, or spin-off series focusing on what character from Farscape, who would you most like for it to focus on?
Ooh.
So one character gets their own prequel,
Spin-off.
sequel, or spin-off.
Ooh. Okay, so I'd be... Well, you can go... I mean, okay, I'm not going to show...
Yeah. Okay, series, right? So
do I get to pick, or do I get...
You get to pick.
I'll describe a few possible scenarios. Let me put it like that. So I would love to see a Game of Thrones-esque series feature focusing on Rigel.
Yes! That's mine too. That's exactly it. Kay, you read my mind. It's so good. Yes, I want him to return on Taruk Makto or Daenerys Targaryen astride on board Talon, right?
Yeah, bringing him back in, and it sounds like a fun series that you could do.
Just raining. That's him.
Other than that, I mean, you could
Probably
do
raining on Hyneria.
You could do a BSG type series about the Peacekeepers.
Ooh.
Or
do you mean a full one, like maybe a peacekeeper, like a command carrier that gets lost in the true uncharted territory?
It doesn't have to be like it doesn't have to be the plot of BSG, but I mean, just focusing on daily life on command carrier. Probably with Aaron involved, and just like the stuff that they get into. Maybe the first showings of how Krace is slowly starting to go off the deep end, how he's more and more starting to not exactly follow orders and try to pursue his own machinations.
So you want basically the same series chronology of season 1, but from the command carrier's perspective.
Something like that. That could work.
Poor Lieutenant Teague.
Well, yes. Other than that, obvious ones. Zahn could be interesting, but I wouldn't. No idea what kind of. I mean, her chief anarchist days could be fun. I mean, I don't know if you could make a whole series of that, but that sounds like... I
mean, it's a bit of... I mean, we know so little about it. We know she committed a political assassination, but we don't really know the context. And she explained some of that, but what she explained was 3 or 4 lines. Yeah. There could be a whole lot more to it, and her imprisonment as well. Like, this could be a Nelson Mandela story or a Napoleon story on Elba. That would be fascinating. It would also give us some more opportunities to explore Delvians. Hey, that reminds me, we also have a little question from our friend Ruth, a loyal listener, and this is not less of a question, more of a dream.
Okay.
He had a weird dream at one point where Zahn had hair. Okay. And so his question is, if Zahn grew and dyed her hair, what color would it be? Which I think is very important for a Zahn-centric spin-off.
Yes. I mean, other Delvians we've seen with hair, it's either been...
We've seen 2 Delvians with hair, and they've had white hair.
Yes.
Which is boring.
I know.
She's an anarchist.
I mean, red, I suppose.
Red would be a good color.
Yeah, I mean, it would be a little bit like that Marvel character. What's her name? Mystique, I think.
Oh, yes, the X-Men character.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, if she slicked it back. Oh, wait, no, she could have like a pompadour or a mohawk.
A mohawk.
Zahn with a mohawk.
Yeah, that would look good. That would be a great look.
I'll be in my bunk. Oh, we had a fun bit of trivia from our friend and listener Tonks, who at one point yelled, "Stop the presses," and informed us that their boyfriend, who has a background in botany, said that, okay, so I once saw this theory on Tumblr that Zahn was what we would consider genetically male because she's bald. And and all the other male-presenting Delvians that we've seen were also bald, and then maybe she's a trans woman.
Right.
And it was sort of supported because Tonks' boyfriend said that in plants, the sort of emission of pollen is associated with the male gamete, or what we consider male.
Right, and then we have the episode where, which is that the Crackers one? No, it's the...
Home on the Remains.
Home on the Remains,
yes. Where she gets hungry and she starts emitting all of these sort of spores and pollen.
Yes. Okay, so that's an interesting support of that theory.
I love this idea. I mean, also, I'm sure Virginia Hay would love it as well. She did mention that in the 70s, a lot of people mistook her for a drag queen.
Oh, yes.
Because she is a tall strider.
Yeah. She does possess many qualities that drag queens tend to try to achieve. So, yes.
Oh, yes. Oh, magnificent. Thank you, Ruth.
Do we have any more questions?
We have a lot more questions. Matatron, shout out to Matatron on Twitter, asks, if you could choose one character from season 1 or 2, oh, this is good, who could have helped the crew on their heist in Liars, Guns and Money, who would it be and what would their role be? And, how do you think the crew convinces them to join?
Oh, okay. Oh, let's see. Who could have been on Liars, Guns and Money? Which character who was not already involved? So who else could we have thrown in there? I think we would have to go with our little red-skinned friend from the first time that we met, Maldis. The shopkeeper.
Played by Grant, whatever his name is, the super hot...
Careful with that.
Toxic.
Quite the contrary. It's a sensual stimulant. Enriches the conjugal experience.
You can vouch for this personally.
Yes, though it was some time ago.
It's still potent.
Nonetheless, I'd suggest you test it before you buy.
Alone?
As you choose. But I'm willing to stand by my products.
Oh, that would have been really interesting.
He would have made a great pair with Zahn when they were walking into the... Walking into the heist and trying... She was doing her commanding little space pirate queen thing.
I bet he's into femdom.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, now she had a Chiana parrot, but he would have made a great little boy toy on a leash, I suppose, for that scene.
Really interesting threesome with her and Stark as well, I guess. One problem with that, though, he did die.
Well, yes.
You're dying. Let me help you.
You already have. I don't regret. You and I.
Fair point.
And there's one thing we know about science fiction. When you see someone die on screen, they're definitely dead and never coming back,
right?
So
that's definitely never happening. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see.
I know mine.
Okay, go on then.
The Drac Queen.
I am monarch of the Drac.
The monarch.
The
sort of the little creatures that and her aggregate. Like, if they could impose on her for a favor to impersonate or to send her.
That's diving deep, though. That's right at the beginning of season 1.
Yeah, but it's in there for.
She could have done she could have done a great thing with getting the whole swarm to swarm the shadow vault or whatever what it's called again.
Oh yes, of course. I wasn't even thinking about that so much. To hunt the Metalites.
Oh yeah. Oh yes, right? Of course.
The Drac are small enough that they could sort of go Metalite hunting.
Yeah. And then use that blue goop to pin them down, and then they could individually be eliminated.
Yes, they don't even need Chiana's spaff cannon because the Drac have their own blue goop.
Yeah, ooh, more blue goop. Oh wow. Okay, so that was a fun question. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Metatron. And Metatron has one more. In the 3-part episode, Look at the Princess, I always thought about how ethically demanding the topics were. The genetic violence on John has always shocked me in this episode because his seed was taken from him and used, has always shocked me in this episode. Can you think of any other shows with similar themes in the world of science fiction?
Ooh.
I mean, there's a bit of that in Altered Carbon.
Yeah. I've only seen the first season from that, but
you have your mind on a stack, and your mind and body can be sort of replaced, and that you can have your body taken from you as a punishment for some actions, and then somebody else can take them over. That's a lot. There's a lot.
True, but once you get to the point of that, you can swap consciousness. What does your body even what do genetics even mean anymore at that point? The whole point of genetics is that you can persist by giving part of yourself and living on through your kids, I suppose, is the traditional viewpoint in that. Once you can just switch bodies, then it really makes no difference anymore.
What about cloning?
Yeah.
I mean, you've seen Orphan Black, I think?
Altered Carbon has the same thing with cloning as well, isn't it? That's when illegal clone bodies are made.
Oh, yes, true. Yeah. Oh, there is one episode of Star Trek The Next Generation. I think it's the really offensive one with the space Irish.
Oh. Right, yes.
Season 2, I think, because Pulaski was there, and then Riker discovers that the non-Irish aliens have made illegal clones of them. So he finds one of his own clones that is still being grown in a tube, and he is offended by this, and he draws his... I was about to say he draws his lightsaber. I'm doing too many podcasts.
Rises his phaser and just blows it up.
And just destroys his clone who never got to wake up. So there are some troubling explorations of, genetic and body integrity throughout the universe. And thank you for bringing us down, Metatron. No, it was a very good question. Oh, Horsebird. Horsebird's back.
Horsebird. Horsebird.
Hi, I'm Horsebird. I really enjoy listening to y'all's podcast as I'm fixing planes up here in Alaska. So, Dargo and Chiana. What do you think of them as a choice for a secondary shipboard romance?
I'm not sure what it was being played for. I mean, it clearly works. It's just like a couple who gets thrown in together. I don't think there's like much of a romantic entanglement, as it's more of a relationship of convenience.
Yeah.
Rather than the clear romantic interest that John and Aaron have. So I don't think it's going to last.
Oh, dear.
No.
Oh.
I mean, I think that things are going to happen in that regard. I think that Jothi might have something to do with that. It's like age-wise, he's more,
Oh, dear. And how many points are you putting on that?
I'll put 20 points on that.
20 points, being very conservative there. I'm actually going to... No, I'm not going to accept them that low anymore. And we'll find out why later on.
It's a bet for the entire season. It's like it's the beginning of season 3. It's going to be a long-running bet.
Yeah, which means that you can make a lot of money on it.
Right.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Okay, 20 points.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you.
All right. Okay, we have another question from Horsebird, which is great. And that is...
Did you pick another character to form your Dargo, Chiana, and whoever OT3?
OT3?
Okay, so I thought you might be confused about OT3. So I looked that up, and it's a Phantom term, and it means a 6-speed 1000cc turbo vehicle which outputs around 177 horsepower following FIA regulations and is the first side-by-side high-performance prototype specifically designed for off-road racing in the world, or the one true threesome.
Oh.
Because there is the OTP, which is a fandom term for the one true pairing of, the various ships that there are shipboard romances. So who would you make into a fun little triangle, a threesome between Dargo and Chiana, which might be just what they need to sort of complete them?
Oh, who would I put into that? I think that would definitely be that ambassador of Australian accents from that
Casanova.
Casanova.
Yeah, Drago Casanova.
Yes.
That is such a good answer.
He would complete the three of them. He would pull them down. He's a little bit more mature than they are.
Oh yeah.
He'd be in for their kinkiness. He is totally the guy I would want to see in that.
Oh wow, yeah. Hey guys, have you tried candles yet? We can do stuff with candles. They smell really nice, and there's other stuff. Let me show you.
Dragon Casanova, cousin to the crown. I trust I'm not disturbing you, but I'm planning a trip to the edge of the Barren Lands to watch the Pelkrinos migrate, and thought...
And we can go rock climbing afterwards. Oh no, wait.
Oh, is that what we call it these days?
Well, Dargo does have a very impressive nosebleeds.
Yes, I can't even... there's no way I can top... Pardon the pun, there's no way I can top that.
Very good. All right.
We have some questions. We have a lot more questions. Kelpie, thank you so much for sending in your question. Farscape is, in my opinion, the show that proved people wanted interconnected storylines in sci-fi. After it ended, shows such as BSG and DS9 copied the formula and became insanely successful. What if Farscape had never made it past the pilot stage? Now, I've got to sort of put on my nerd voice here and say that Deep Space Nine preceded Farscape handily by several years, and there was Babylon 5 as well, so I wouldn't necessarily say that Farscape invented a sort of serialized storytelling.
But they did give it a big push. Then again, I don't know, I have no idea how much of an influence it was on other TV moving. I mean, it was clearly at the dawn of the golden age of television, which we are in right now, 20 years later.
Yeah, but does it count as part of that? Or is it like the last hurrah of the sort of old-fashioned episodic...
It kind of, well, yeah, like you mentioned, especially Babylon 5 and to a lesser degree Deep Space,
right?
and to a lesser degree Deep Space Nine already did the overarching story progression. But
Babylon 5
I
was famously a novel on television. Yeah,
but I would still say that BSG was the first one. It was the dawn of the new golden TV age in that regard, especially when it comes to science fiction. Although, I mean, we had
and special effects quality,
right?
And like,
I mean, there was like The Sopranos, but I'm not quite sure how that times in when that.
Roughly that era.
Yeah,
I think you're right. I mean, there's also been some less successful shows like Total Recall 2030, I think, or 2040, something like that, which was also very noir and sort of had that prestige feel to it.
Yeah.
But that was the sort of era 2003, 2004, where certainly in science fiction, like the special effects capabilities and the production budgets really, really expanded. The HD era as well. Firefly, Enterprise.
But especially the way it's presented, Farscape is still very much a product of the 90s. It does have the storyline and the development of the modern era, but the format and the way that it looks and feels is still very much the preceding era.
Yeah.
It hadn't made that leap yet into the golden age of TV.
The sort of like three-parters and the season finale arcs were pretty unusual for the time and like really stood out. But for the rest, like there's a lot of value in how episodic it is. You just have an episode of the week, as we have mentioned, but without the big red reset button.
Yes,
necessarily.
True.
Right. It still had a memory. So
it still had a continuity.
I think that's interesting because I mean we're kind of rejecting the question because what if Farscape had never made it past the pilot stage? I don't think that BSG was inspired by Farscape in that way. That this new prestige era was waiting to happen anyway, and just Farscape was just the best of the old, the sort of Buck Rogers kind of rollicking adventure thing.
Who kind of led in that era? Very, very true.
Another question from Kelpie is: Farscape is a bit of a mindfrell at times. We've seen some weird dread so far.
Yes.
But just how much more insanity does Kay think we can expect? And what's your most insane episode theory for season 3? A lot of pressure there.
Okay, damn. Okay, so I was actually thinking about something like that earlier today. Because we've seen John's story arc develop since, let's see, when did it start? It started in Beware of Dog. Which is when when I think that John is really starting to... We're starting to see more and more of Harvey throwing things in. Although Won't Get Fooled Again also had a lot of that.
Yeah.
But I'd say that like John coming apart at the seams starts in Beware of Dog. And they've kind of ridden that horse pretty damn hard. They've gotten to the point that at the end of Daimi Dichotomy, he literally asks for... Dargo to kill him? I can't remember.
That was at the end of Liars, Guns and Money.
Right, Guns and Money. That was it, yeah. And... that kind of needs to ease up. There needs to be a new, dynamic stability. They can't keep pushing that.
Or a new arc as well.
That's the thing I was looking for. Yeah, there needs to be. The whole thing with Scorpius needs to be resolved in some way, or at least brought to a new, stable situation where it can be not the thing which is constantly happening anymore. Because you can't like keep heaping onto that. I mean, you can, but then it turns into like,
Okay, I'm gonna sort of specify it.
Yeah.
And what I want from you is wild speculation. So you've made this statement, and that's a very good statement. That it needs to you need a new status quo for season 3 to evolve from.
Yes.
And what we have is John is brain damaged and traumatized, and Scorpius has a chunk of his brain and the chip.
Yep.
And how is that going to create a new status quo in season 3? And please be wild.
I mean, John is clearly not left in a state where he's suitable as a main character.
Yep.
So they're going to have to... Something has to be done to restore him to his former levels of functioning.
Assuming a lot there.
Well, I'm assuming that they're not going to off their main lead and going to have like him sitting as a background little plant in the control room.
Okay, yeah.
I'm kind of worried about your expression here.
Listen, I'm going to... Scorpius has a chunk of John's brain.
Yes.
We've had a whole season with Scorpius in John's head.
Yes.
You see where I'm going? And at the end, John transformed into Scorpius.
Okay, here we go. Scorpius is going to take the knowledge that he has of John's brain, going to implant it in some sort of technological bit of device, and the next 2 episodes are going to be about Scorpius wandering around in John's brain, and John had trying to find a way to get control over that simulation, kind of like he did in the episode where he was being mind tortured by the Scarran.
Won't get fooled again.
Won't get fooled again. Yeah, there we go.
He knows how to do it. Oh my God.
Yes, there we go. That's
hell yes.
There we go. That's going to be would that make for a good episode in season 3?
Damn right it would, motherfucker.
Said it before. I should have been in the writing room for this.
One day I will get you to write a whole. We're gonna do fanfic, something. Okay, Richard on Twitter, that damned scientist who was apparently involved in research for the COVID-19 vaccines.
Oh, fantastic! Thank you very much.
Thank you for your service. Trivia question: which food of Rigel's clogged up the transport pod innards in Dream a Little Dream?
Oh, damn! I know he was talking about it, but oh.
Oh, wait, you think you can do it all? Because it's multiple choice.
Oh, okay, no, go
So
for
was
it.
it Kiva Barbecue?
Yes,
Crispy Grolac. Yeah, okay, that one's definite. The other options were Crispy Grolac or a marmalade sandwich he stole from under the judge's enormous hat.
No, it was definitely the barbecue, yes. I remember that one.
Well done. Nil point, though. I mean, we've talked about this one already. Why does Novia's Palace have a basement with an acid foundry?
Yes. I mean, that's just the kind of thing that any self-respecting royal has.
Which he says, is it maybe to deal with the really tough stains? Ooh. Suggesting that maybe it's just their laundry.
I mean, we have seen strange laundry rooms before, especially on board Moya.
What do you think was on the deluxe pizza that Crichton ordered in Won't Get Fooled Again? Because he orders a deluxe pizza at one point to test whether he's in how deep the simulation goes.
I mean, how well is that kind of like his token? You know, the one that he checks to see if he's dreaming or not. Like how many deep levels in? I mean, a deluxe pizza. I would say it has a ham, pepperoni.
I think he's one of those such a corn-fed boy. It's going to be really conventional for a. Where's he from?
I don't know.
Tennessee.
Oh,
I don't know that we're...
I have no idea. I don't think it's actually established where he's actually from.
Interesting.
Yeah. But yes, ground beef, pepperoni, ham, probably Canadian bacon. That's the one, yeah.
Oh, that sounds really good.
Yes.
I could just murder a pizza right now. Oh, and what do you think Grace and Talon wanted to tell Aaron in Dimey Dichotomy? That they thought would make her the happiest person among us.
Ooh, that's a tricky one, because, I mean, we know for a fact that Grace has very poor judgment of what other people will enjoy and like.
Really? How? Well, I mean, aside from, shooting a lot of people?
I was going to say, assuming that he operates on those principles, that he occasionally tries to make people happy. He doesn't have very good judgment in that regard. But something about... I mean, wasn't it that he wanted to, have her become the pilot as well, exchange a hand of friendship to her?
Well, that's what he said to Talon earlier in Dimey Dichotomy.
Yeah.
If she chooses to come with us, then we'll share what we learned.
Yeah. So maybe that...
And then what is
they can do a merger, probably because the fact that she's has pilot DNA or something, that she become something of a pilot for Talon.
Would that make her the happiest person?
Ooh, yeah, that's a good point. Probably
that's
not.
So tricky.
I mean,
I'm not going to unless something really comes to you. I'm not going to put you on the spot because that one's just too big.
Yeah, I mean,
I haven't looked yet, but I'm sure that this one question spawned 1,000 fanfics, almost as many as Dargo's little Luxon bonding ritual.
Oof, yes. All right, next one.
Lucy asks, what if Won't Get Fooled Again was true and we're just watching John's coma dream?
We're still in that. We're still in Won't Get Fooled Again. And he's still on the table of the Scarran. And
No. Not on the table of the Scarran. He actually woke up and that's the real world. Because there's some troubling connotations in that. I know that she's asking, a lot of science fiction shows and adjacent shows have had episodes where someone is convinced that they're in a crazy house, like Buffy very famously. And that episode sort of ended with a last ambiguous shot of Buffy Summers in the mental hospital and completely catatonic.
Yeah.
But in this case, we've seen how the world sort of fragments and breaks up and gets even more bizarre. So what if that's the real world?
But how would that translate to the rest of the show?
I know. I kind of struggle with it as well. I think it's a fascinating like what if, but gosh,
I mean,
there's actually not a lot to unpack there.
I mean, we've got. Won't get fooled again. Then the locket would have been fictitious as well.
Yeah, unacceptable.
Yes,
unacceptable.
No, I'm afraid I can't go there. Thank you for the question, but we'll have to.
Try, Lucy.
We have to reject that possibility that he is still dreaming and this is all his fantasy. No, sorry.
But Lucy has a follow-up question that is absolutely excellent. A few guest characters have returned in this series. Which one would Kay like to see in season 3?
Oh.
You can't say Durka. We've been through this.
No, not Durka. Let's see. I would like to see more of what's his name, the Nabari guy who is
Neri.
Neri.
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
I would like to see Neri's return.
Yes,
a little goth boy. Yeah,
Neri. Oh, yeah, a goth rebel as well.
Yes.
Can you imagine him and Chiana sort of Luke and Leia-ing their way through?
Oh, totally. Yeah. Definitely want to see more of him.
And bring his boyfriend back because they're totally boyfriends,
yes,
aren't they?
Absolutely.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
certainly in your secret little fanfic and mine.
He's my leader. I do what he says.
Laura asks, how could Katrala's daughter with Crichton come to play in the future? And this is another one of those what-ifs.
Yes. I mean, that's going to be like 80 cycles in the future before she gets born.
Yeah, so we're probably going to have to come up with some reason why they're defrosted early.
There might be a constitutional crisis. The Empress might die. And perhaps the Scarran plot to destabilize the government means that the Empress gets assassinated and now she has to be out of stasis early and become the new Empress.
Oh, yes, yes.
But then there will still be years and years before that kid grows up.
And then
John would definitely want to be a part of that, and he would definitely want to move towards that planet because it's still his kid.
I kind of love the idea of like this transport, this refugee transport from the breakaway colonies arriving at Moya, right? And saying we have aboard Princess Katrala who still needs to be defrosted, and we need your help, and please provide it. And then John says, "Of course, I'll be there for my daughter." And they said, "We weren't talking to you, Your Majesty, Your Highness, Dominar Rigel the 16th. The last wish of the Empress was that you would take charge and
as regent until." Damn.
Who are you? Because nobody knows about John.
No, this
right?
is true.
He was struck from the record.
It's very true. I mean, other than everybody who was there at the ceremony.
Well, yes, of course, Katrala and all that,
and quite a few other people.
Yes, but
still, yeah.
Do we know that they made it off the planet?
No, of course not. No.
Did they just get laundered with the rest? Oh, okay. So we have two more friends who've sent in their questions. And first of all, Lee, our friend Lee, the musician.
Ah, yes.
Hi, Khaki. Hi, Kay. This is your friend Lee here, the musician. Lee writes songs on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, all that kind of stuff. So I've been a big fan of the podcast since pretty much day one. You guys know already. But what I haven't told you is my favourite episode that you did, which is The Ugly Truth. And I absolutely loved how insightful you guys were, the great observations you made of how each character's perspective played out. And so my question pertains directly to that episode, actually. And that is, we all know that Rigel wasn't there. He wasn't in the original scene. He wasn't in the interrogations. But what if he had been? What kind of nuances or, patterns would there be that would let us all know that this is Rigel's memory? And who would he have tried to finger the blame on?
Oh, damn.
That's such a good one.
Everybody would have gotten blamed because Rigel would have just been like throwing everybody under the bus every opportunity. He would answer every theory that the aliens throw at him with yes, absolutely, and then make up some complete bullshit to fit that theory. And it would make absolutely no sense to.
I love the. I'm sort of stuck on the cinematography because his flashback would have been shot from sort of waist height, and I think he refuses to look up at people, so it was just been like navels and knees. And you sort of have to guess who's talking.
Yeah. And everybody, of course, would be... Because I noticed in the episode that in everybody's version of the story, everybody acts different. So I guess in his version, everybody would be super deferential to him. And
they would agree with him all the time. But they would also... like
and then be incompetent about doing the things that he tells them to. And he would throw everybody under the bus.
Yeah, he would blame all of them. He would find reasons for all of them to be blamed, except for him.
Yes.
Wow, that's brilliant. And lastly, our good friend Greg from GH Cosplay.
Hi guys, this is Greg, longtime listener, first time
caller. Well, not really. I was a guest after all. I've kind of two questions. So for Khaki, what is one that has surprised you coming back to it that like you didn't remember very fondly, or just that you didn't like as much the first time, but come back to it, like you kind of have a newfound appreciation for?
Oh, wow. Now I'm getting put on the spot. I think, okay, My Three Crichtons is one that I've gone up and down about a lot. Like the first time around, I remember being riveted and it was so cool. And then in like later rewatches of the DVDs, I remember, oh, good. It's just filler and the makeup is sort of. And now I watched it again, I was just blown away. Mm-hmm. It's really, really fantastic. I really enjoy it. The makeup is fantastic. The concept is so bold. The performance choices are great. Hey, that reminds me. Laura on Twitter, she posed an interesting question a few days ago where she wondered, okay, so the sort of green Veruca spits out a primitive Crichton and a more advanced Crichton. Yeah. But was Scorpius's clone still inside his head while he was being scanned and being duplicated?
Yes, it was, I suppose. So those would have had them as well.
Right. Or, I mean, not the Neanderthal version, I don't think. Well, okay, so maybe the technology would have recognized that chip as...
And not included it? Yeah, that makes sense.
Or maybe considered it some kind of prosthetic. Yeah. And then imagine a future where you don't need that prosthetic.
Yes.
So maybe like the future Crichton was so horrible because the qualities of the Scorpius clone were sort of integrated into his brain.
Oh, yes. That's a good one.
This is so good.
Oh, yes.
So, yes, for me, it's definitely My Three Crichtons. And also a question for you, Kay.
Yeah.
What is one that you have really appreciated so far? Or just like what's been like a really standout one for you? Or arc, if it's part of an arc. I'm curious about that.
I think this is an invitation to like reveal your sort of season-long Willies and Woodies.
All right. Okay, let's go for that. I mean, we were just talking about My Three Crichtons, which I dubbed the slow-mo episode.
Yes, and that is a bit of that.
I think it's...
no, it's not as bad as The Locket, where like the last 5 minutes are all sort of running in slow motion.
But it is on my list of weaker episodes.
Fair. That counts for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's got favourite children and least favourite children.
Yes. Other episodes on my weak list are Vitus Mortis. Which,
I'm with you there.
Yeah, it's just like, it's just...
I mean, great performance by Melissa Jaffer.
But it was so much a bottle episode, and...
Yeah, that's not really what we're into. No. Sort of Planet of the Weeky. We've been so spoiled now.
Right, especially, I mean, I guess coming after the season opener, it just felt, okay, we're back to this.
So episodic, and so even though we really get to develop Dargo's character, it was too much. I struggled with it as well. And
Beware of Dog, which is also not one of the episodes that I thought was one of the better ones in the season. Again, it had a kind of creepy alien, and not creepy in a good way. Uncanny Valley puppetry, I suppose. So my Willy actually goes, and this is not because I think it is a bad episode. In fact, I think it is one of the better episodes. But it does seriously give me the willies, which is Won't Get Fooled Again. Because, yes, because it's so relentless.
Wall-to-wall heebie-jeebies. You never get to laugh. It is so...
Even the scene where he's like tied into the stirrups and we've got Rigel in his BDSM outfit and everything. It's just...
I mean, yes, you wind up cackling, but it's just because you're just losing
terrified,
your mind. It's so good.
It does such a good job at portraying like a mind being broken down.
Poor John.
Yeah.
I'm with you there.
So, strong episodes.
Yes,
I'm
curious.
I mean, I'd loved the long arcs that we had in Look at the Princess and Liars, Guns and Money. Those were good, strong, multi-episode stories. And, of course, Dream a Little Dream.
Really?
Yes.
Not a universally beloved episode.
I loved the backstory that it gave.
For Zan.
Yeah.
Like her sort of... What mental decline looks like for her.
Yes.
The visions of her friends and the horrible things that she's put through. Like seeing her stripped of her of like the soft fabric that she usually wears and like.
Yep.
Wow,
so
that's
strong,
a really
good,
cool
strong
choice.
episode. Yeah, but my Woody definitely is to The Way We Weren't.
Good.
I like that episode. I mean, I've got a big soft spot for Pilot, and I love the fact that we got so much backstory.
We get to see his homeworld,
and we get to see how his integration with Moya. We get to a strong part of Aaron's development as well.
The sort of PK spin-off that you wanted.
There we go. Yeah, exactly. So that's definitely my Woody episode for the season 2.
Okay, I've thought long and hard about it, and I wanted to come up with something that is not quite so obvious, but it's out of their minds.
Out of their minds.
Out of their minds. It's sexy. It's fun. It feels like the episode where all the actors had the most fun
because they got to play each other. I suppose. Yeah, try to take on each other's mannerisms and
just really be. And it's so remarkable that it was written by Michael Cassatt, who has never written for Farscape before or since. This showed such deep understanding of these characters, and it's almost everybody's favorite. I mean, a lot of people go for Crackers Don't Matter, which is also very, very good, but I just love them. I just love everybody.
I think one of the best parts in that was Anthony Simcoe playing Chiana. And
Do you know he was hospitalized for that?
Yeah. Oh, because he knocked himself out or something? What happened?
Well, I mean...
Or just overheated?
Yeah. So middle of Australian summer, unventilated room, covered in latex, and then having to do the Chiana sort of running around and he hyperventilated himself into the hospital, the poor man.
Damn. That's dedication. But yes, that was a fantastic episode. Yes, I can wholeheartedly agree with your choice.
One last question.
All right.
Who has been your favorite guest to have, and
why is it Greg?
And why is it Kay's cat? Because it's clearly Kay's cat after all. Thank you so much.
Oh, she is sitting beside me. She is
having a little wee snooze there.
Yeah, exactly. She's decided that she will be an adjoining kingdom.
Yes, and because you're sitting in her spot.
Apparently, I mean, usually when I put the blanket over my legs, that she's happy to come along, but she's sitting next to, enjoying my company.
She's a lovely cat. Not quite so much at feeding times because she gets very loud and demanding. But she is an adorable little critter.
She is a wonderful contribution to our podcast. But I think my favorite guest is still Greg.
Yes, at least he had a speaking role in the. My cat, whose name is Geisha, by the way, although we usually call her Her Majesty. Yes. Yes, she occasionally pipes up and you might hear her in the background, but yes, at least...
She's a purrer.
She is.
So, it is time for the reckoning. I sort of teased you about this before. You've been playing quite a dangerous game.
I have.
Making some long-term predictions. Yes. Yeah, they were very dangerous, and they haven't always played out that well for you. You scored a lot of points in the season 1 trivia spectacular.
Yes. But it was kind of set up for me to earn points, I suppose. And after that, now I have to make do with what I have. I have my starting capital, and I have to make it work for me.
So let's see how you did.
All right.
I'm going to sort them by the episode in which they were resolved.
Okay.
So you got a few bonus points here and there.
Yes.
In 201, you realized that Crace didn't intend to betray John, so I gave you a few bonus points for that. For writing down gravity bladders and recreating in The Way We Weren't.
Yes.
I appreciate nerdery. And for realizing in episode 214, so that's Beware of Dog.
Yes.
That Scorpy has his claws in Crichton. You realize that there already. Very well. Okay, they haven't all been excellent.
No, I kind of missed out on Crace coming back with the crew.
Well, we'll get to that. So, first of all, you predicted that the Peacekeepers, specifically Scorpius, would kidnap Boya.
Right.
So that wasn't it.
No.
There was something about Dargo being the second best kisser of season 1. You predicted that in 207, you predicted that Rigel was going to lawyer up in Dream a Little Dream, and he kind of did.
True.
Didn't do very well because he's a lot.
Yes.
He also liared up.
Yes, I mean, his tactics didn't work because, they were not allowed to basically lie.
Yep.
So that's Rigel out of the picture. Okay, now I don't have anything to say.
Then you predicted for 209, which was...
that was out of their minds? Out of their minds, yes.
That a Hynerian royal artifact gets fought over. That didn't go so well.
No.
By 211, and that was the beginning of the Look at the Princess trilogy. Yeah. That's where You had predicted at the end of season 1 that Scorpius would become the main villain, and that's where it was really affirmed. You scored 360 points for that.
Oof, yeah, well, that was one of the long ones that rode out.
You do well with those. That there wasn't going to be no Zaan or Moya in the first third of the second part of Look at the Princess, or that the device messed with Crichton's DNA also didn't work out.
No.
But you did predict correctly that the device that attacks Crichton in Look at the Princess was Scarron.
Yes.
Pilot and Zaan did not save the day in Look at the Princess.
No.
That you won't see in 217. Yes. We won't see Stark again this season.
Well, there we go.
Yeah, we sure did.
That didn't pan out.
At the end of the second part of Liars, Guns and Money, you predicted that the mercenaries would rescue John instead of Jotham, and that did indeed happen. Very good. Liars, Guns and Money lasting until the end of the season.
You awarded me very generously that one.
It was filmed that way. It was written that way. Like in the episode numbering, Daimyo Dichotomy is part 1, and then the first episode of season 2 is part 2. They were not written together. They were not filmed together. This was a 4-episode block. I think it counts.
Okay.
Stark is an imposter. Has not been proven in season 2.
No. I kind of figured that he is. It becomes a little bit more clear later on in the later season of Liars, Guns and Money that he's like very concerned about the other members of his species, and that seems to be causing this his erratic behavior. Let's call it that.
Another missed opportunity, Chiana pregnancy something, which you predicted when it's the end of the season. It still hasn't happened.
That one gets reset, I suppose.
I did once read that that was toyed with as a potential storyline for season 2, but that was never developed. But way back at the beginning of season 2, I let you make the prediction we'll never see a shaven Dargo. And I've got to be fair, so that's you put 20 points on that, and you earned 420 points on that because of we haven't seen a shaven Dargo. Well done. But the most, I sort of went back to Crace showing back up with a new crew / organization, and as I was sort of tabulating it, I realized, well, in the literal, and you've got to be in the literal word of it. He shows up the first time in The Ugly Truth.
Yeah.
Where he shows up with a plan to replace the Sonic Ascendancy canon on Talon with a more...
He wants some sort of the web thing.
Something like that, of Placavian design.
Yeah.
He returns, and he is joined by a Placavian arms merchant. He returns with another organization. It's not what you... It's not exactly what you had in mind, but in the letter... I think it counts.
All right. You're being very generous.
Well, when I have an opportunity for pedantry, I don't care who benefits.
Fair point.
So you're entering season 3 with a score. You have spent 430 fun bucks.
Yeah.
And you have earned a total of 2,000.
Damn.
So that's 1,570 fun bucks is what you've had. Minus the 20 that you've just spent.
Okay.
On I've already forgotten.
I'll have to start making more predictions then.
Yes, you will.
Yes.
And that's the story so far, Farscape.
For season 2.
So we're heading into season 3, a new season, new world that we're entering into. We've got a big announcement, everyone, and that is that from season 3 onward, So Farscape is going bi-weekly.
Yes. Don't be worried. This is not one of those announcements that starts like the crumbling of the show. We have like a long...
Oh my God, don't say that. Don't put that evil out into the universe. No, exactly.
It's not the beginning of the end.
That's not how I wanted to make this announcement, Frel.
All right, okay, well, we'll have to edit that a little bit.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Because, we started So Farscape in the midst of the
pandemic,
where we had loads of free weekends. None of us were doing anything. We're all fully isolated, and we're heading into the after times. And we want to make sure that we can keep producing So Farscape. We want to keep enjoying Farscape. So we're just going to go every other week, and we're going to make sure that in the off weeks we have a little something. We've been doing fan fictions for our Patreon subscribers, and we're just going to drop a little fanfic in between weeks that we do So Farscape. So
you have a little bit to listen to on the off weeks.
Yeah, so you'll have us to enjoy, to tide you over, and we can maybe also make Farscape last a little bit, because the thing that we want most of all is to finish the series. We want to get there.
We are definitely going all the way to the end, which is going to be another 2 years, I suppose, at this if we drop to this new pace.
I hadn't even thought of that. Yeah. That's a great way to make it last.
Yes, there we go.
So Kay, I'm afraid that you're going to have to wait a little longer before you get to see the beginning of season 3.
Yes, it's already been like so long because like we're the recording schedule's been a little bit messed up the last couple of weeks.
That's what the after times are like, right?
Yes. So it's been like 2 weeks already since I saw the last Zone episode. So it's going to be another week or two.
Next week's going to be a fan fiction. We're gonna start off. We're gonna pick a nice, fun fan fiction to read for you in the next episode, and then 2 weeks from now we'll come back with
season 3 of Farscape, and can't wait to start.
You can find us at Farscape on Facebook and Twitter. You can subscribe. And about the Patreon.
Yes.
Do you remember how when we started it, we promised that if there was anything left in the kitty, we would spend it on
stupid stuff? Yeah.
Absolutely stupid stuff. Yes, exactly.
Okay. Did you get something?
I did.
All right.
This has come true. On behalf of myself and our supporting listeners, I have a gift for you.
Oh.
Yes, it is for you. It's something that I don't know anything about, but I did check out that it's perfectly safe for Kay because it's only about the first and second season. It is the Farscape role-playing game.
Oh my God, there is one?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
This is fantastic.
Yes.
Oh.
It's based on D20, a system that I'm not nearly as familiar with as you are. It's a beautiful book.
Oh, it looks fantastic. It's got like the main cast, some of the main cast, John, Erin, and Dargo. Erin holding a massive gun with a flashlight on it.
Yeah, that's her style.
Who's the eyes in the background? Is that Scorpius?
That's Pilot.
Is that Oh, all right. Sorry, I can't.
Wait, hold on a second. Let me see that.
Let's cancel that. Yeah.
Wait, hold on. No, this is actually really okay. So here's the thing: I bought the Farscape, the role-playing game, off a seller that I was able to find. It's out of print. It's very expensive to find, and it hasn't arrived yet at this moment of recording. And I thought, oh, okay, that's a terrible shame. I still want to have this moment with you, so I'll just find a picture of the cover and then print it out and hand that to you. But what I think I've done is I've given you a printout of the manual for Farscape the game, which was a 2002 video game that is also out of print.
You're right.
And that's what we're looking at. Okay, so the illusion is sort of fallen apart. That's also a thing that exists.
But it is Pilot.
Really think about.
But it is Pilot.
It is definitely Pilot. So I actually don't know what the cover of the role-playing game book looks like.
But thank you so much. I am so looking forward to reading that and geeking out on Farscape about that.
Please share it with me because this is the first time that you have Farscape things that I don't know about.
Oh, yes, I definitely will.
And that is all thanks to our supporters. And if you want to join in, and that's at sofarscape.com/support. You can send us your submissions. We need lots of submissions for season 3 at sofarscape.com/submit. I'm Khaki.
I'm Kay. So Farscape, so good.